Shalom, this is your Ark. Yah is magnified. Coming back with another informative video. I titled this video, No Contract equals No Obligee equals Case Dismissed. But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All of my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They're all facts and all truth. Nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, I'm doing this video today because I had an octa going to the court, and he, basically his first time getting in there, and he actually did, all right for his first time. He was kind of shaky at first, but as he started talking more, he started to get comfortable. So, two things that stood out about it because he recorded it and let me hear it. The first thing that stood out about it was when he asked the judge, is this court operating under the UCC? The judge said, sorta, kinda. So when he said that, I was hoping that he would have broke out the case law stating that, child support is no different than any other commercial debt. Okay? And put the case laws to back it up and everything else. But that's neither here nor there. And also another question that stood out when he asked the judge to show him the contract that obligates him to pay child support. The judge said there was no contract. That right there could have ended the case immediately. He could have walked on. He would have walked home scot-free. They would have had to dismiss the case by the judge's own admittance. Okay? So in his situation, he did good. So the court decided to continue it. But this time, they continue his case so far away that it's ridiculous. Just for them to try to get more money from him. They continue his case almost until March of next year. That's crazy. Just for him to get and the court asked for the continuance because of the questions he was asking. So the court asked for the continuance and told him, well, they're going to continue it. Until next year, which is completely crazy. Okay, so now we're going to further prove, should I say, that if there is no contract, then there is no obligee, and if there is no obligee, then the case must be dismissed by the judge on admittance. Okay? So now, we're going to pick this up at the definition for obligee. We're coming out of the Black Law Dictionary, and we're going to read the definition of obligee. Obligee is the person in favor of whom some obligation is contracted. So now, if the obligee is the person in favor of whom some obligation is contracted, then that clearly states that there must be a contract in order for them to have that obligation. Okay? So, in child support, majority of the time, the obligee is the child's mom. So we know the child's mom go down and apply for services to the child support agency, which creates the contract, which also creates the obligor once the agency comes after the father. Okay? So for the judge to say, okay, there is no contract, okay, cool. If there's no contract, then there's no obligee. And if there's no obligee, then the case must be dismissed. Further proving that there is no obligor if there's no obligee. Why? Because they stated that there is no contract. By definition, obligee is the person in favor of whom some obligation is contracted. But let's continue. It also states whether such obligation to be paid money or to do or not to do something. Is that not child support? Is that when they call you an obligor? They want you to do what? Pay money? It's all contracts. But they're trying to make it seem like it's not. When the very terms that they use have contract written all in it. But not only are we going to pick it up from the Black Law, we're going to also go to the Bouvier's to see if the Bouvier's saying the same thing. Law Dictionary. Okay? So, let's continue down to obligor. Obligor is the person who has engaged to perform some obligation. So basically stating that An obligor is to perform the obligation and or the contract. Because the obligation is the contract. Okay? To prove that, let's go to obligation. Zoom out. Stroll up to obligation. Okay. Obligation. As you all can see, dead center of the screen, it says a generic word derived from the Latin substantive obligatio. Okay. So they said it's derived from Latin, which is obligatio. So let's get the true definition. Let's go to obligatio. Okay, obligatio right here for all to see. It states Latin in Roman law, a legal bound, a legal bond which obliges the performance of something in accordance with the law of the land. Right? Then it states it corresponded nearly to our word contract. So again, an obligation is a contract. Remember, I did a video on that stating that the obligation created the contracts, further proving the same thing. So once the judge said there is no contract, then guess what? There is no obligation. So that means what? There is no obligee and the case must be dismissed. Further proving that there can be no obligor. Okay? The words they're using itself clearly states that it's all contract. Clearly states that. You know? And when he heard this, and he not when he heard this, but when he listened back to his recording, my arc that went into the court, he knew when he made a mistake at from the beginning. You know, but he also know that he got another chance to go back in there to finish him off. Because like I stated, he still did a good job for his first time. You know, and he was nervous. But he said for sure he won't be nervous next time because he know what's going on. And then he said when he talked to the judge and asked the judge, "Is this court UCC?" He said the judge bowed his head down and laughed, you know, and smiled and said, "Yeah, sort of, kinda." You know, further stating that they know what's going on, man. They know what's going on. But now, with that being said, like I stated before, we got to do it from another type of legal definition or source. Because I like to give y'all at least two witnesses for the matter can be established. So let's go to the Bouvier's Law Dictionary. Okay, so as you all can see on the screen, we're coming from the Bouvier's Law Dictionary now. It states obligee or creditor. Right beside it, it says what? Contracts. So again, if there is no contract, then there is no obligee or creditor. Okay, but let's continue. It says the person in favor of whom some obligation is contracted. It states the same exact thing that Black Laws Dictionary stated. Two witnesses before the screen, like the scripture says, out of the mouth of two or three witnesses, let each matter be established. But let's continue. It says whether such obligation be to pay money or to do or not to do something. So again, obligee equals contract. If there's no contract, there's no obligee. Because the contract creates the obligation. But let's roll up. Let's go prove that. Let's go to obligation. Here we go. Obligation. In its general and most extensive sense, obligation is synonymous with duty. In a more technical meaning, it is a tie which binds us to pay or to do something agreeable to the laws and customs of the country in which the obligation is made. Stroll up. It states the term obligation also signifies the instrument or writing by which the contract is witnessed. So again, if there is no contract, then there is no obligee. If there is no obligee, then the case must be dismissed. Because in order for them to be an obligee, it must be a contract or some form of obligation, which creates the contract. So either way, there need to be a contract. Without that, then it's no bind. You can get away, walk away scot-free. Break it down as simple as that, guys. But look, that's all I'm going to do for today. You all need my help. Hit me up at my email at y'allismagnified@gmail.com. Let's continue to get this remedy. All my guys out there fighting, continue to fight. Don't quit. Don't give up. Like I told y'all, it's the fight not easy, but hey, it's worth the fight. You know, we learning more. We learning different methods of going. We learning different ways of moving as well. So all my fellas out there fighting, continue to fight. I have more testimonies coming, more truth coming, more facts, more proof coming. Keep y'all eyes open for that, because we moving. We're going to keep this thing moving. So again, you all be blessed. Shalom.